Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to another Zero AD Alpha 23 replay commentary analysis. So, just like last week, we're going to be watching Borg again, and we're hoping to learn from some of his play. He's a very, very good player. Obviously, he's the best, he's the recent champion. So, this game is going to be between him and Roland SC2. You'll notice that the ratings gap is actually around 650 points between the two players, but unlike last week, it's actually a very close game, and it's also very chaotic. So I'll just warn you that there's action everywhere, so it's going to be quite difficult to keep track of the entire game, but bear with me. Now, I asked Roland about this game, and he explained that he chose his civilization while Borg was random, and that makes sense because Borg ends up with the Carthaginians, and their massive advantages at sea, and it's a mainland map, so it doesn't make a lot of sense why you would choose them. And Roland chose the Iberians, which is a good idea because against the very best players you're going to be constantly rushed and harassed, and the Iberians start with walls. Another thing to note about the game that really tilts it slightly in Roland's favour is that Carthaginians have access to elephants rather than rams, and also their spam troops are archers. Now, basically, rams and walls are the enemies of these things, so archers can't really hurt either of them. They also need to use embassies to get access to any sword troops, so they're very, very difficult for them to stop rams. Although they can use the elephants, but elephants are incredibly vulnerable to being shot by skirmishers. So it's definitely the civilizations and the map will favour Roland. But that said, it's going to be a very, very interesting game, so I will try and go through the development as quickly as possible so we can focus on the action and strategies that are employed in the game. And let's go and have a look. So as we join the game, we're about 20 seconds in now, and Roland has ordered 3 women, first and foremost. He's got all of his women, he's already had 2, sorry. So no, he's got a couple of women there that have gone over to get berries, and he's sending off these guys. They're going to go and build a house. You know, he started with the farmstead and the storehouse, as you'd expect, and he's keeping his civic centre working as much as you'd imagine. So every time that he runs out of every time it produces some units, it's producing some more. So he's sticking with the 6 women for berries at the moment, and he's just sent a couple of women here to chop wood, while the rest of the people are just getting sent straight off to go and get some wood. He's going early on for the upgrade and getting other house in there, and at some point shortly I think he'll get the wicker baskets upgrade. If we look at Borg, we'll see he has realised that he's got 2 sets of berries, so he's building 2 farmsteads, but strangely hasn't gone for the berry gathering upgrade, even though he's got 13 women gathering food. They could gather that more quickly, but then having said that, he's Borg, so he's very, very good, so it's best not to question him too much, as he's, you know, very much able to beat me comprehensively all the time, I would have thought. So as you can see, as I was mentioning with Carthaginians, their general spam unit is going to be these archers. Now, ordinarily those archers would be quite useful. You could use them because of their long range in tandem with some cavalry to actually pin your opponent in quite early. What you aren't able to do in this case, though, is that because, as we explained in the introduction, the Iberians have walls. So although Roland wouldn't have been aware at the beginning what faction was going to be Borg's, he can just check. So if we look from his point of view, he'd be able to go up to here to diplomacy, and he could see, aha, Carthaginians, they're his enemy. So early on, we're now approaching 5 minutes, and from Borg's point of view, he's got a slight population advantage, but of that he does have a handful of horses, and he's got some additional archers. He's now building a barracks, and he's going to be producing archers from the barracks while continuing to produce women from the farmstead, from the civic centre, sorry, at this point. Whereas Roland has also got, at this stage, a barracks. He is producing skirmishers from there, while he's producing women from his civic centre to up his number of farms quite quickly to get a bit more food in. He's already had the berry upgrade, which he used, even though he only had the ones. Oh no, he does have a second set of berries, sorry, my mistake. And he's now getting the farming upgrade, and he's just managing to keep his houses. So houses keeping him just inside the pop cap. He's got quite a lot of people actually producing houses, so 7 is more than I would have expected. He'd be better off, I suppose it's because he's actually not got huge amounts of spare wood, but if you can, then you can try, and if you can get enough wood, you can actually produce them in groups and send people off to actually make about 5. So these 7 or whatever it is people here, so now it's up to 9 people. They could make 2 houses actually, only a tiny bit more time than it takes to make 1. So you can save a little bit of time that way by just producing a load of houses at once. So he's now getting his storehouse going here. That will allow him to start getting metal and stone. He's just managed to get pop capped. If we look, Borg is now, due to that, starting to get slightly ahead. It's strange that he's allowing this to happen because he's got plenty of wood, but he's not building the houses, and now you can see he's starting to build. But he's only, weirdly, when he wasn't desperate, he had 9 people building houses. Now he's only got a couple. Although, oh no, sorry, there are more houses going up around here as well, so a combination there of different houses all being built at once. Now, the Carthaginians' houses cost twice as much, but they do give you double the population bonus, so Borg's used them quite nicely here to get himself into some land, some trees here, and as you can see, there's 22 archers. There's a load of archers. Here's archers. These guys here, they're archers. So he's basically, that's it. That's what he's been building, is archers, pure and simple. He's going for the 2 storehouses, with the idea being that that makes it that much quicker to extract the materials. He's got the first wood upgrade, but he doesn't have either of the upgrades here, and he's got plenty of resources, so it would make sense probably to get those upgrades, but he's choosing to spend them all. He's getting 6, additional 8 troops there. He's just going to be building, he's going into the upgrade. Again, it is just going to be archers upon archers upon archers. So Roland has got the advantage in just having got to the town phase first, but in doing so he has lost a 25 population, and because of that, as we approach, well, not approach, as we just go past the 10-minute mark, I'm going to show now the map, and we can see that although Roland is behind, the thing that is going to hurt Borg at this point is he basically has only archers, and as was mentioned, if you're coming up against rams, you're going to need to have something that can take those rams down, and that's why he is building here a Celtic embassy. So the Celtic embassy gives you access to slingers, as well as sword cavalry, I think, and let's have a look. Oh, that doesn't help yet. So we'll see when it goes up. We can see that it's going to have oh no, the Celtic, sorry, that's the Iberian one that gives you slingers. My mistake. They're going to get sword cavalry and swordsmen. And Roland has started bartering to get himself the resources to, I think, get a quick move to phase 3. He's still 20 odd behind in population, but the thing that's in his advantage at this point is he does have a mixture of troops. So he's got, although he's got a lot of women, that is a phenomenal amount of his population is made up of women, which is interesting. If we go and look at the entire amount, he's got, half his population, over half, is made up of women that obviously can't fight. So that's not particularly helpful. But what he's trying to do now is to get a load of slingers, and that really is aiding his mix of troops, and that's really helpful when you go into attacks. If you've got the swordsman going in hacking at people from very close range, and you've got skirmishers from slightly further out but with a greater attack rating than slingers, and then slingers are even further out than that, and they've also got crush damage which will take down buildings, then you're in a really, really strong position, because you've got lots of different things which are going on. Whereas at the moment, if we look at Borg's army, he's got 2. I think those 2 could be. No, he's got another 2. He's got 4 spearmen, but basically, take out those 4 spearmen, everything is archers. So yes, the archers have got longer range, but they don't have as good a attack damage, and they're unable at all, completely unable to harm any rams. So he's going to have to build some cavalry from here to get himself into a position that he can actually yeah, be safe defensively later on in the game. So if we have a quick look at the map, you can see that around this part there's some additional metal, a few smaller things of stone. Borgs continued with his cavalry to hunt. He chose not to attack with any kind of raiding because it would be kind of pointless attacking around the walls. So the Iberians, exactly as Roland would have liked, have given him a strong basis to defend, and they've meant that Borg has taken a different approach, which is to build up his troops, and then he's going to hit phase 3 quite quickly, which he has done after about 13 minutes. And so you can see he's in the mini-map, he's taken pretty much control of half the board. I keep calling it a board. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to stop doing that. But half the map, and he's building his first fortress. And I think if we look over here, he's going to have to build some cavalry. But what I tend to do in this sort of situation is I build my cavalry and then I store them in your fortress. And in doing so, you get cavalry that, as soon as a ram is actually approaching, you've then got troops immediately can come out and just attack. So he's getting his hero now, which is I think, yeah, it's Hannibal Barca. So he is, or is it Hannibal Barca? No, sorry, it's Mahabal. So he's going to give you 30% attack bonus for cavalry melee soldiers. So he's definitely going to want to get some of these troops. And there they are coming up. So he's got 12 on their way. He definitely wants those. And here he's just got skirmisher cavalry because the Carthaginians, their upgrades at phase 2 aren't additional troops available from the barracks. They're the troops that are available from these embassies. He's chosen to go for both of them being the Celtic embassies, but he could have gone for the Italian or the I forget what the other one is. Oh, the Iberian. Is it Iberian or yeah? I think it is Iberian, and that would have given him slingers, which I tend to like the slingers, so I think they're a good thing to have. But he's chosen not to do that. But he's trying to build up a bit more of variety in his forces. You can see here he's got some more spearmen, so they will be good against cavalry, but Roland's not actually producing any cavalry, so it's one of those things that it's kind of, well, to say it's a waste isn't really fair, because he's going to need troops with some kind of hack damage, and he needs some kind of meat shield to protect him, or to protect his archers who are going to be shooting from long range. So I would expect, although I don't think he does it actually, but I would have expected him to go for the infantry archer upgrade just to increase that attack damage, but instead he's focusing on the armor, which is in terms of its cost is definitely well worth doing, and he's hoping, I think, that the armor that he gets will be what gives him the potential for his archers to really withstand some damage, rather than attempting to do it via having superb attack range. So I don't think he's produced any swordsmen. What I have done in the past, but he's getting plenty more horses going here. The thing with these, though, is that they all cost metal, so unlike and more metal than other troops do. So yeah, they don't cost a lot of food, which is why he's not got a huge amount of fields here. He's just got the 8. Oh no, sorry, he's got 10, but he doesn't actually need a lot of food apart from to get elephants. So looking now, we will start to see that the first action has taken place, and Roland is just he's letting this stone go. So Roland can use the stone to get slingers, whereas the Borg's approach will be, he only really needs stone to build the fortresses, and if he wants to build catapults, I don't know about the other siege. No, the bolt shooters don't require that, but that means that he can probably sell off his thing, basically. Oh god, we missed an attack. I did mention earlier, and I apologise, that it's incredibly chaotic. It's really interesting game, but you can see there that he's backing off his horses. They're coming into the fortress, but he's lost around 10 of them. And although we can see from this watchtower, that's going to give him additional vision range, so you can see the rams approaching. He's trying to kill off the infantry troops, but these guys are going to do absolutely nothing against the rams. So he has to pull out the cavalry, and in all honesty, his cavalry are not the best cavalry around. If you can get like sword cavalry champions, then you're laughing against rams. Otherwise, you're actually in quite a lot of trouble. So his fortress should survive. Yeah, it will definitely survive. There's no way that's going to do it. And he's going to hopefully take out this ram as well from his point of view. But while that's been going on, he's pulled off 50 odd archers who are doing quite well. But the issue is now, as soon as they start to get people coming close up, you'll see these guys here just falling one by one as the troops, the melee troops will just take them out like very, very quickly. They're really poorly armoured compared to those. So this, like I was saying earlier, this combination of troops that Roland's done is very, very smart. So let's have a look here. Borg is on a mission to actually just find out a little bit about what he can see. He could try and take out this group of women that are getting stoned, but he's not gone to do that. Whereas we've got some troops moving across here. It's absolute carnage. The whole game is incredible. So as I said, it's not at all like the last week's game where it was just a brutal attack. This is, you've got two areas of attack going on a lot of the time. So he's now trying to get his cavalry involved. The problem there is that a lot of these that Roland has are actually spearmen, and they, as you can see, they get a bonus against cavalry, and the combination, they've just killed them off in no time, and his supporting archers are just not doing the damage required, and not having this upgrade is going to cost him, particularly as he's got plenty of stone, metal and wood. If he could just get that upgrade, then that would give them that bonus that would be really helpful in terms of taking out some of the troops. I mean, again, this is where you start to see, this is why I don't like Carthaginians really. These, now you've got archers and they're going to shoot and shoot and shoot, and they can do absolutely nothing against these rams, and particularly as these guys are coming in. So he has got an elephant. The rams are trying to run away, but the elephant will just be killed. I mean, as I say, I mentioned it in the intro that you get elephants and they give you an opportunity to attack rams. They're actually very good at taking out rams. But like this, he's got a supporting army here of about 55 slingers, 85, so nearly 100 troops. They're going to take out an elephant really quickly. Like, they've got 750 health, but they just die. And as you can see here, this fortress, it looks like it's going to go down. I can't see a way that Borg will be able to defend this. Call the police. This is absolutely brutal, and there's very, very little that Borg can do. I don't think he's just got his one hero who is desperately trying to take out a ram or two before he dies. Out come a load of archers. They're of no use whatsoever. All they can do is attempt to take out some of the troops, but there are more rams coming, and if we just zoom back out, we can see, is he producing one? He's producing rams 2 at a time. And from Roland's point of view, he doesn't have a lot of wood, but he does have plenty of metal, and that's, if he can get the wood together, which, for instance, he has a group of people over here, spearmen getting wood, then he's in a good position to get plenty of rams. And the more that, if he can knock out this fortress, then there's very, very little that Borg can do in terms of actually putting those rams, getting those rams going. Borg's not producing from either of these embassies, which isn't particularly good. He really needs to get the rams going, and Roland is looking to take out his ability to trade and to swap his things here. So if he takes out the market, then that means that Borg can no longer, which he's done there, so he has taken out the market, but now Borg is not in a position to exchange his resources for other resources. So he's got a massive surplus of stone, for instance, but he can't now trade it for anything else, basically, which is not good. It's just not good at all. So it's a good piece of play on Roland's side. One of the things that you need to to make sure that you do is try and cut off your ability of your opponent to actually to produce troops. So you can do this in a number of ways. So one of them is, as he's done there, Roland has taken out his ability to move his resources around, to take out resources which he doesn't need and exchange them for ones which he does need. The other thing that you can do, as he's doing here, he's been knocking out some houses, is you start to take out things like civic centres and houses, and in doing so, if we look at Borg, he's got 187 but population of 300, but if he were to take out, let's say it was much closer to still having 300, if he were to take out a civic centre or a load of houses, then suddenly he has to build houses to get his population back up. So this ram is going to presumably die unless they... No, he needs to get his hero to take out the Borg's hero before the ram goes, and I think it's going to be too late. He's on 289, but the ram's taking out fields as well. This is another thing. It's stopping him from getting any additional resources. He could do with getting this ram to not be fighting some troops and instead to actually take out some other stuff. But yeah, that was a pretty brutal attack. The population, it favours Roland by about 30 now, but Roland's planning a counter-attack over here. As you can see, again, it's with archers. So this one ram, basically, against all of these, like 50 or 60 archers, there's only actually 40 of them, this one ram would comfortably be able to take out this civic centre before his archers could get anywhere near it, unfortunately for him. I think he's focused on the battles over here, pulling these troops, getting them to take out again more of the food. So if these women are killed and these farms are killed, then there is no more food. I think there's a couple of farms there, but there's really very little around that Borg can utilise, and his food is not particularly high. So when your food is like that, you're not going to produce elephants. What are they, 250 or 500 food? 350 maybe? I don't know, a lot of food. 250 food, which means that if he can't produce elephants, and he's still not producing horsemen in any great numbers, then a ram will just knock this out. I think he probably could have survived that, actually. And this will be sufficient for, I assume, Borg to run away. This group of troops, combination of slingers, pikemen and skirmishers will kill the elephant and the horsemen before they have a chance to do anything against the ram. They're desperately trying to get his spearmen in to sort out the ram, but just cannot get anywhere. Well, he is actually getting... Sorry, I'll take that back. It's going to be tight. Who's going to go first? Is it going to be the ram? No, I think they've lost, unfortunately, for him. So for Borg, ram has not been able to survive, and that's a civic centre down. And so if we look from Borg's point of view now, you can see he's only actually able to get a population of 285. He must have built another market somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where that is, but he's now doing some trading. So when did he get this new market up? He's built it in much the same place he had the last one. He's got good vision. He's been smart in that way, but he's unable to really launch any kind of counter-attack. And this is a pretty marauding troops. And the thing with slingers, this is why I think it's really important that you have slingers, and if you're Carthaginians, to build that Iberian embassy. I don't think they offer as good a range of troops. I can't remember if you might not get like sword cavalry or something, but the Iberian embassy, or I think it's called an Iberian embassy or Spanish embassy or whatever it's going to be. What is it? Celtic. It is the Iberian embassy. So that Iberian embassy will give you access to slingers, which is really, really important for you. You can see Borg's not actually, he's got those two barracks, but he's got a load up here as well, but they're not producing anything. And the reason being, he doesn't really have any wood, and he's not able to get any wood. So he's got these archers, they're trying to fight back. It's actually, as it is just archers, I'm surprised that the, whatever they're called, the rams don't just go straight in to attack the fortress. It would make sense to do so because there's nothing about them that can stop them, but he's instead got a couple of elephants, and I think that's going to be basically his last push. If he can get these to take out Roland's troops, we can see Roland is on almost double the population, and as I've said all along, he's got a better mix of troops all the time. You know, you look at this and it's like there's some slingers, but there's also some spearmen, and he's got the rams. If he takes out the elephants, then it's game over, I'm afraid. Just looking here, he's building up his economy a little bit. He's unable, I can't really see anywhere that he's gathering wood. Oh, here. Okay, so he's got about 20 people gathering wood there, which will get him something. But this, yeah, you can see the issue is that although there are more archers, as the slingers get closer, they're that much more powerful. They actually kill them. So the numbers will get closer and closer because the slingers will. Actually, well, I take that back. They're going the other way. Oh, because they're running away. But had he continued in that fight, there actually wasn't the end of the thing. Oh, and it's because of this guy. So it's because of the hero coming in that he can just take out huge numbers of those really, really easily, that he didn't continue with that altercation. And here we can see another good mix of troops. Again, skirmishers, swordsmen, slingers, and pikemen. They're going to take out, or actually take over this this building. No, they're not. They've Roland, sorry, Borg's not allowed it. He's destroyed it rather than allow it to be captured. If he'd allowed that to be captured, then Roland can heal his troops right next to this base, civic centre. So that would be an absolute disaster for him. So he sensibly decided to take that out. Roland's actually got quite a lot of people not doing anything. If you look at the upgrades, he's gone for the upgrade with the. So he's got the top upgrade for his range infantry, and he's also got the armor upgrade. What he hasn't got is this steelworking upgrade, which is a brilliant upgrade for swordsmen. And as he's got quite a lot of swordsmen, I'm surprised he hasn't gone for that. This guy's going to die very quickly. Yeah, he's trying to use him to dance a little bit, and it's not really working because these guys are just being taken out. I mean, you can see here, if we just go back to this thing, this civic centre is going to go down in a second. He's made some people run away. They're going to try and do something over here, but this is all but over. It's been a really, really interesting fight. Like what Roland has done really, really well is to keep up the pressure in a number of different places, and he's really taken advantage of good population. And I mean, that you can see at the end, he's just been. It was really, really good play from Roland. What I would say from Borg's point of view, yeah, he was hamstrung by having basically the worst civilization for this, but he also didn't help himself in some instances, stopping producing cavalry here, and then using those cavalry actually when he had them, rather than in a purely defensive way, to actually go out and attack Roland. Just lost a lot of them unnecessarily, so he may have been able to withstand the rams a little bit better had he not done that. The other thing is he didn't produce any catapults, and catapults are excellent against masses of infantry. So where Roland had these large groups of slingers, particularly range infantry, then a couple of catapults can take these out very, very quickly, which he didn't produce any of those either, despite having lots of metal. He really seemed to struggle with getting trees and getting as much wood as he could, but he fought really, really well, and he was at a disadvantage from the map. The Roland produced well and did a really good job, but on the whole, a deserved victory for Roland. I have to say it was excellent, really, really well played. The map may well have favoured him, but he played everything exactly as he had to, and he got the result. So congratulations, Roland. And with that, I'll bid you farewell for another week. Thank you very much. Ciao for now.